Hi class, let's take a look at example 7. And example 7 deals with divisions. So let me just rewrite them as fractions, both of these, and give me just a second. And in this case, you technically have 2 divided by 1, or just the values of 2, divided by the values of 1/4. Now, remember the rules, and let me point out to the rules on division. This is up here. Sorry, it's here. Okay, whenever you're dividing fractions, your second fraction gets, well, technically flipped, or you're going to end up multiplying by the reciprocal. The first fraction, it remains as it stands. So let me go back to the problem. Okay, so in this case, we're just going to rewrite 2 divided by 1 times. Remember that the division sign switches to multiplication, and then you flip. So we're going to multiply times the reciprocal. The reciprocal of 1/4, it's basically 4/1. And at this point, you have 2 times 4 divided times 1 times 1, or technically 8 divided by 1, or simply 8. That's it for the first problem. And this portion here is crucial as we're dividing fractions. Let's take a look at problem 2. In problem 2, I will do the same. I'll take the same steps, which I mean express it as a fraction. So in this case, this is 2 divided by 1, which is 2, and then further divided by 2/5. And then 2/1, we're going to be expressing that. Don't forget to switch your symbol. So in this case, the division, it's going to switch to a multiplication, and then the reciprocal of 2/5, it's going to be 5/2. So let me just show the reciprocal here. And at this point, we're going to multiply. So I'm just going to rewrite it as 2 times 5 over 1 times 2. Let me fix the numbers. So 2 times 5 and 1 times 2. Now at this point, I don't want to multiply. I just want to cancel common factors. So the 2's are going to cancel, and we're going to end up with technically 5/1, or simply the values of 5. And that's actually it for this problem. Let's take a look at problem C. And in problem C, well, we're just going to say that this is 7/2 times the values of 4/3. And once again, remember that your division switches to a multiplication, and then don't forget to multiply times the reciprocal. So the reciprocal of 3/4, it's 4/3. And then at this point, we're going to rewrite it as 7 times 4 divided by 2 times 3. And then before we multiply, I'm just going to cancel common factors. So on the top, you have 7 times, technically 2 times 2, over 2 times 3, which at this point, you can cancel the 2's. So we're going to be left with the values of 7 times 2 over the values of 3, or 14/3. Which is equivalent to, in this case, 4 2/3. In case they want it in this format, most likely because your original fractions, and I'm referring to these here, are expressed as regular fractions, this will probably be the final answer. Let's take a look at problem D. In problem D, before we express, carry the reciprocal, let me rewrite it. So this is equivalent to 8/12 divided by technically 4/1. And this is 8/12 times a 1/4. And then at this point, let me just rewrite it as 8 times 1 and then 12 times 4. And then let me just go back. Remember, the division turns into a multiplication. Your original 4, it's technically a 4 divided by 1. Its reciprocal, it's going to be 1/4. And then before we multiply and get the denominator larger, let me just express the 8 as 4 times 2 times 1 over, well, basically 12 times 4. And then what we can do here is cancel the 4's. And then we're left with, on the numerator, a 2 over 12. Or it simplifies further, 2 times 1, and then basically 2 times 6. And then you can cancel the 2's, giving us a final answer of 1/6. That is it for this one. Let's take a look at problem E. And in problem E, we're technically looking at, well, the values of 2/3 divided by 0 over 1, or 2/3 times 1 divided by 0. And here we encounter a problem. This is one of the basic properties. Remember, division to multiplication, then technically they're reciprocal. And then in this case, we technically have a 2 times 1 and a 3 times 0, or a 2 divided by 0, which is undefined. So when you encounter these problems, you express your solution as undefined. We're not allowed to divide by 0. It came up as one of the properties in one of the beginning examples. Okay, so that's it for this set of problems.